Here comes the crow storm! Ask whatever damn question you want of the Raven, it's a murder in the bot lane!
Well, were you surprised?
Welcome back to the Analyst Desk for a preview of Schalke 04. Oh, I nearly fell off my chair. It's a slippery armrest. Oh my God. Hello. The spring finalists brought a holy hand grenade against the Rabbits last week, so let's look at how the German squad can avoid a similar fate. Our machine with slippery hands. This is trouble. Dry as a bone. The hands. Let's talk about Schalke. Good God, it's an absolute car crash. Schalke's win condition. Let's get into it. Schalke 04, the boys need one man and one man only.
The boy that's literally right behind you, all the way to the side. This guy, the ex-TSM prodigy, the Aatrox turned into on main in TSM and now back to his bruises / more aggressive picks in the top lane. I just feel like the reason why Schalke have been prioritizing him a lot in draft, if you see them on blue side, the first pick would be whatever broken is left for B1. They'll take it for BrokenBlade and he will absolutely smash the lane with it. I feel like he's one of the key members for them because he can set up not only his lane, he can not only win his lane, but he also set up later team fights to come. And honestly, for me, it's BrokenBlade, BrokenBlade, BrokenBlade.
Yeah, okay.
Schalke are BrokenBlade.
I mean, that's not to discredit his team so much as he has a unit of 4 prioritizing him. And that's
It's more like he shines above the rest. It's not that his team is bad, it's just that he's such a big shining star. And I'm so happy to see him back into his more aggressive playstyle.
Okay, rock and roll, and some new names as well along for the ride. And in contrast to that, you know, you look at Schalke's lineup versus Rogue, there seems to be a conversation a little bit more about Vision. Is Ender hanging out with us?
Yeah, honestly, Vision is going to be a really important thing for them because I did feel like they were able to get picked off in situations where they weren't able to guard their flanks. That ended up being a big problem for them, especially in some of their games last week.
I actually completely forgot Ender was with us on the desk. It was anything out of sight, out of mind. I'm not going to lie.
I'm still here.
You forgot the zipper thing?
Oh, that's true. Ender, I'm sorry. I have just got a really broken brain. And
I
if
can
can't
do it
see
again
you,
if you'd like.
Yeah, can we? Can we just get the shoulder back out? And there we go. Twitch viewership. Oh, you actually can't. There we go. Right, we just doubled our viewership. But didn't you have something quite smart to say, Ender? I thought you were going to educate us all on that vision control.
Look, I had some more smart things to say too, kind of bouncing off the BrokenBlade point that Trouble was hitting there too. Like I thought last week, especially in their game versus the Mad Lion, this is just wrong. I thought, you know, there were some situations where I'd really like to see them tighten things up. You can see NUCLEARINT getting caught out in the mid lane. He was kind of getting ganked by his own, you know, lane opponent. Humanoid was the one coming out of Vision. Elioi just ran sort of straight down the middle lane, and you can see over and over again these things not really work out. TP disadvantage working against them too, and this is one of the hardest things you can deal with when you're playing against the Mad Lions, a team that is very good at punishing you, jumping out at you from inside the fog board.
You know, there's one reason that they also lost this game is BrokenBlade wasn't Lulu. Someone else had to carry in turn for BrokenBlade to press his E and buff them up. So he was the facilitator for his team. And I think after this game, they realized how important it is to have him on things like the Sett, something more aggressive like the Renekton, like these more aggressive picks where he can make a difference in a team fight.
Yeah. We also didn't give you any credit, by the way, but we saw Diana and Ezreal immediately out of the gates. You were calling it, and we did see both of them. You weren't crossing your fingers and toes for a Yuumi. We nearly got the full 3.
I did want the Yuumi though. I feel like we're so broken in this comp. Who knows? Maybe we see today.
Yeah, and I do feel me in as well because, you know, our first day here, Rogue. I mean, this is a team, I was just talking to you in the green room about it, and Laure just said, expect the same. Your sentiment was similar. I mean, what have they been up to so far?
You know, honestly, I don't think Rogue needs to change much. Like, their lanes are solid. They just need to expand a little bit more. They just need the pop factor. Because so far, the meta was really in their favor, right? The Aziz, the Corkis, the laid-back mid lanes. But when you see Larssen shine and play more aggressive and won't take the 1v1, is where I feel the spark comes from Rogue. And a lot of people will say, well, we're surprised Mad won, but I'm not, because Mad had the pop-up factor last split, and Rogue got caught off guard.
But this is still the Rogue that was in the grand finals
absolutely.
of the previous split. So I imagine, you know, expectations will be at that level, Ender.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think when we talk about like early game for both these two teams, Rogue is a squad that is so strong both in their individual lanes and the planning they can have in the early stages. They're really good at exploiting that. Inspired is so good at working off of his own laner's pressure to invade, take camp, steal away these tiny micro advantages. And at the same time, I thought especially playing against one of those top-notch teams in Mad Lions last week, Schalke dropped the ball in their early planning. Trouble, you mentioned the Lulu for BrokenBlade on the top side. Maybe not the champion you want to see him on, but then also in the early lane phase, we had Kirei pathing towards the Lulu, playing around the Lulu lane instead of looking around bot side where you have a melee support working against double range. They got waves crashed in, they got El Yoya, you know, denying the minions underneath the tower. So I do think there are these types of things in the early game that Schalke need to reconsider. Either it's the draft needs to change or the way they play through their individual lanes.
Well, talking of changing draft, what is the analysts' feel about the Fiddlesticks? So getting to see it, in fact, we saw it twice on Inspired last week, and I'm a bit of a Fiddle fan.
I am a huge Fiddlesticks fan. I'm actually a huge fan of anything that shakes up the meta, and I think Inspired is such an intelligent jungler that can make anything work. You give him Soraka jungle, he'll make it work for you. I have no doubt about this. But Rogue is such a team that plays so well around choking their opponents off of vision that the Fiddlesticks can just work so well. And even if they can't do that, they slick in and Nocturne in there, and he takes all the vision anyway, so you can't see where the Fiddlesticks is. So I really do enjoy Inspired, specifically because he's playing Rogue, and they're so strong at playing around their vision.
Okay, so it's more Inspired than it is Fiddlesticks Ender. That's the conclusion of that. It's the player, not the champ this time.
I mean, I think the champion can work really well, too. I think we saw Razork busting that out way back in the day. Last split, I know we saw a bit of that, too. Inspired's kind of the guy that I trust to play just about everything, but this Fiddlesticks is a little bit more of a niche pick. It may start picking up more steam, but we've got a few players in the league right now, like Razork, that can definitely lock that one in.
Rock and roll. Well, thank you so much for your insights. For now, we're ready to get into game. Schalke facing a Herculean task up against Rogue, but their man in the top lane might just be the hero they need. We'll head over to two heroes of our own over at the casting desk. Caedrel and that guy, I think he's called Medic.
Thank you very much, Machine. That's very kind of you to say. Caedrel, we've been talking a little bit about this, and I was wondering who you think is going to win this game between Rogue and Schalke.
I think it could be a close game.
Yeah.
I think Schalke has definitely been, no, in all seriousness, Rogue has been looking fantastic in the early stages of the game for sure. A couple of throws here in the mid game, similar to Mad Lions, but I think Schalke, a big tough task ahead of them, I must say, but if they can get a win like this, it could turn their split around. You know, the confidence you can get from beating Rogue, which Misfits almost did last week.
And as much as we talk about turning their split around, like they're 2-3. They're not in an awful position at the moment, especially considering they changed Kirei in, they brought in NUCLEARINT. The question was whether or not Schalke could maintain the form that they had in spring, and I think they have fallen down a little bit, but they are still looking like a middle-of-the-table team.
But I think if you just think of the playoffs race, right, 6 teams go to playoffs. You've got G2, Fnatic, Mad Lions, Rogue, who you expect to make it.
Surprised you knew that.
As the 4. Okay, well, and Misfits already has 5 wins, 1 loss, right? They're already really up there. So now there's 5 teams, pretty much not locked, but looking really good for playoffs.
Yeah.
So now there's like this, I think SK is obviously really struggling. I don't think they'll make a bounce back just yet because of the Ross change. There's lots of internal things happening. So now it's a fight between teams like Vitality, you know, XL, and Schalke, and Astralis perhaps, but mainly I'm looking at Vitality and Schalke in this fight for that 6th spot. So they need to be better than Vitality, they need to be better than Astralis and XL for sure, and better than SK. So they need to make sure against these top teams, if they can pick up these kind of wins, then it definitely helps them in the long run.
Yeah, especially with teams like XL beating Mad Lions last week, it does mean that you want to be able to get as many wins as you can on the board. There was a delay getting into Champions Select because the draft is currently being remade off air. We'll get into the game as soon as we can, obviously. What's up?
I don't know, every time I look at you and you just go, I just have to laugh because your face looks so serious and you're so handsome.
I mean, we could... Oh, very never calls. We should cast together more often.
We should cast together more often.
Really
this has been fun.
It has been fun, although you still haven't seen the IT crowd, which you need to watch.
Yeah, well, I can't watch it in the middle of like a 10-minute break, man.
I mean, that's true.
You gotta
that
give
is
time. You gotta let me relax on the sofa and have my wine.
Your wine that you hold like this.
Yeah.
Like some sort of Neanderthal.
Okay, well, it still works, right?
I mean, I guess. That is true. As long as it works, your mechanics are better than mine in League, I will take my...
But you're in Diamond 2 now.
I am in Diamond 2.
Diamond 2 is pretty good. I don't know what the percentage is. It's like top...
I think it's like top 0.5% or so.
Okay.
Which I'll take.
I'll take that any day.
Yeah. Better than Vedi,
Perfect.
which again is the
better than
important
Vedi.
thing. Yeah.
Vedi's still in Diamond 4.
It's true.
Oh, the music.
The music
Nice.
is...
Wait, did Vedi just pop ult? Wait, Vedi's on the Nocturne again.
Vedi's ulting again, guys.
Get him off the Nocturne, man. He always keeps doing this. He runs around the studio, turning lights off, screaming, ha ha ha, darkness.
Just copy my tweet and set it on air.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Anyway, The music means we're going to get into champ select and into draft, which is good for us because it means we can stop pontificating about what would have been if Medicaid had been a thing. Medicaid. We would have brought healing to the world, to the ears of the audience. Yep. Into draft, though. So far today, we have seen Thresh, Lulu, Karma all banned out. Akali, Gwen very high in priority as well. We'll see if that continues here.
And Sinzal's always been banned away as well. And I think against Kirei, you expect Rogue to take that away. I think when it's blue side, target bans are always good. So I think maybe a Fiddlesticks ban could be good for Schalke. We saw that happen earlier on the day in the first game, targeted Razork, of course. Another Fiddlesticks player we have here in the league, but Akali taken off Larssen. Things like the Lucian Renekton could be high prior as well. Nocturne we've seen, Rumble as well. Ezreal taken off. We haven't seen much Varus.
It's true.
Get a little bit of a nerf to his W, I believe it was. Basically reverted to what it was on 11.4.
Yeah.
10.4, sorry.
Bringing it back down in line with some other AD carry damage profiles.
Yeah, there's the Sinzal ban as expected. Now Rogue have an option here. Do we take away the Lucian, which they could perhaps first pick? The Rumble could be another good first pick, or things like the Renekton. But what we've seen teams do is there's so many OPs right now that there's so much trading going on in terms of strong champs, and all these strong champions come from the top side of the map. They come from top jungle mid, and they're always locked in the first 3 picks for either side.
So currently, Gwen still very much up and available, as you said. Rumble there as well. You've talked a lot about Sett and how strong Sett has been, especially in the LCK.
In the LCK, Sett has been unreal.
Yeah, we haven't seen it yet in Europe, though.
Yeah, it's surprising to me, because I think Sett is so powerful with champions like Diana, Rumble, Nocturne. It's another diver that just fits the cards that you need. But the Gwen's going to come through, first pick for Schalke. Now Rogue have a lot of champions that they could answer with. I think the most common thing we see, actually, is double solo lane on 1-2, and then on 3 they just go for the Diana on 3. Just makes it so you round out the AP damage, and their solution as expected.
Will be the 3rd time we see Gwen played against Rogue. Every single time, though, Rogue have been able to win the game in the end. They did it against Misfits, they did it against Vitality. We'll see if they can do it here against Schalke. Usually they use the Nocturne as a counter pick into it in the lane, or at least try and shut it down in the laning phase. There's the Varus you were talking about. Lucian probably going to go to Larssen. That's the expectation here. Larssen's Lucian very strong, although recently he has been getting caught out a little bit early on in that lane.
Yeah, Larsen's had a bit of a quiet split. He's been playing things like the Jace mid as well, and it just feels like it's slightly underwhelming. Trouble was talking about it on the desk. Azir, Corki, those kind of champions for Larssen are great. Scaling safe mages that he can just get the 2 items on, and then he can be a threat in fights. Always like the CS farming god, I think, of Larssen. You know, he always seems to be up in CS, or at least even. But there is the Sett. Finally, we get to see it in Europe. I think this champ is so powerful, and I think that blue side Sett 2-3 pick. It can flex to top, it can flex to mid, it can flex to support. Triple flex champion, which it just brings everything you need. But looks like they're going to take away the Diana, 3rd pick from Rogue, which could have been a possibility for them, but I love Schalke's comp already.
Yeah, give yourself a follow-up engage for the Diana. When she goes in, Sett can follow up, get the ultimate in there, stop the show, and stop Rogue from being able to do anything in those fights.
We'll see if Rogue want to pick Tahm Kench up here. Varus, Tahm, obviously a very common lane. I mean, there's lots of supports that teams can opt into. Leona, Nautilus, Rell, Alistar. But it looks like it's going to be a Kennen for Odoamne. Now, he had a fantastic Kennen game against G2. Really good flanks, really good ultimates. Yeah. They lost that game, unfortunately. It was a very good game. But that's going to be picked up for him, so that gives us the information that Lucian is going mid. Now, I think Rogue are going to struggle here in the jungle pool perhaps a little bit. Schalke can obviously target that out. The Fiddlesticks Kennen was something they ran against G2. Maybe Schalke want to ban that away. There is still a few jungle champs open, things like the Volibear as well. Can be an option for them, but I think they're going to get banned away.
Yeah, I definitely like the Fiddle ban. I think Fiddle with an AD mid laner just gives you that nice mixed damage profile, and when you fall down to the next tier of AP junglers, it can be a little bit more tricky to find someone that fits your composition. Lulu banned away, Braum removed as well here by Schalke.
Yeah, Rogue targeting the Kog'Maw Lulu there for Neon and Limit. They played it before as well, so just making sure that can't get picked on the 4-5. But the Brown ban tells me that Limit wants to play something like Leona or Nautilus this game. We'll see if Rogue want to target that. And interesting enough, Schalke not even targeting junglers, so Inspired will have a jungle pick available for sure. I have no doubt about that.
I mean, even if they banned every jungler they could, there would still be a jungle pick available.
Rogue just missed the ban.
So they did.
Rogue just missed the ban. I've been told that's not a bug. They did miss that ban.
That's the 2nd time in 2 weeks. They did it against G2. Didn't ban out the Thresh.
FLICKR missed the ban in the T1 series.
Yeah.
He missed the ban as well. So a lot of missed bans recently. So slight indecisiveness. They even missed the ban against G2.
Yeah, last week,
against G2. They missed the ban. They were thinking of banning the Thresh, I believe it was.
Yep.
Everything changed. I don't think it mattered too much, but regardless, misban. That's a Volibear ban we were talking about, but now the Fiddlesticks is open if Inspired wants to run that one back.
Question is, do you want to run Fiddlesticks into a Sett when you don't have that Morgana support? Of course, the Black Shield was a key part of why Inspired was able to get into fights against Misfits. Evelyn, very strong as well. You just have to think back to Worlds 2020 to know the power of this champion.
Please.
Is it going to happen?
I don't like talking about hovers, but Inspired's an Evelyn player.
Oh, it's Kindred!
Oh, I'm fuming! I'm fuming! Okay, well, Kindred jungle. I can't say I'm a big fan of the Kindred jungle. The reason I don't really like this pick too much, I mean, it makes sense against Sett Diana because they've got a lot of dive, and it can counter dive, but now you're playing 4 range champions against the dive comp. So a bit worried for them here. They have got a lot of engage, a lot of CC, and a lot of setup for it. But it does mean that they need to round it out with some kind of mini spot. I think a Tahm Kench wouldn't fit their comp so well because you're peeling back too much. I think they need something like the Leona. I think maybe Schalke want to take that away as they pick up the Senna here. We'll see if they go Senna Tahm Kench. Mundo, I don't think we'll see a Mundo support. No. Could be Senna Sett bot with a Mundo top. But then your Gwen is kind of mid. Yeah, it makes things very, very awkward. Mundo, I don't think we'll see him pro play just yet. From what I've heard, Mundo is not that strong in the top side of the map just yet. But we'll see what Schalke want to opt into. Now, the Kindred negates a lot of the dive. And Rogue, with his Tahm Kench being taken away, we'll see what they want to opt into. The Karma is actually up, in fact. I think Karma could fit their comp pretty well. Gives you the bot push. Varus Karma, obviously a very powerful lane, but maybe Rogue want to get more dive.
I mean, Senna Tahm Kench doesn't usually get great push anyway, just because Tahm Kench can't shove out the lane too easily. As you say, Karma would be good with that, but Varus with the piercing arrow, Rakan works well as well. Gets you onto the back line. What Rakan usually needs as a support is someone that goes in before him so that he can follow up. It's gone are the days, in my opinion, where Rakan is the primary engage tool, because you can't flash ult anymore. You can't get in there as quickly as you used to. Now, Rell does primary engage for herself a little bit, groups everyone up for the slicing maelstrom from the Kennen, but can be taken out of fights pretty easily by a Sett, by a Diana here, so it's going to be difficult.
So the Rell makes sense for the Kennen. The Magnet Storm with the Slicing Maelstrom, like you're talking about, you get the AoE, the setup. You know, if you get a good 4-man ult on the Rell, you can get the Kennen ult in there. A lot of damage and follow-up from the Varus and the Lucian, but I worry for Rogue's lane phase in the bot side here. I think Senna Tahm should be able to win out on that, but we'll have to see. Maybe I'm wrong, because I think when Varus gets straight to Dirk, he can get the push. But regardless, Schalke, lots of dive. Senna Tahm weak side, scales very well. Rogue, a lot of dive as well, but a lot of counter dive with the Kindred.
The interesting thing about that bot lane matchup, and something we do have to watch for, is the Rell Q will break Tahm Kench's shield from the thick skin. So, if Tahm Kench is reliant on that shield in the lane, all that Trymbi has to do is Q him, shield will drop off, and then if you get the Sweated Dirk on the Varus, you're doing max HP damage onto that Tahm Kench very easily.
Good point indeed. Now, the only AP damage for this lineup is Odoamne. We'll see if he can do what he did against G2. We're going to get into game. Woo!
On to Summoner's Rift we go once again. BrokenBlade on the Gwen in the top lane is going to be matching up into Odoamne on his infamous Kennen. He has played this champion so many times across the years and usually to great success. Of course, against G2, struggled to find some engages in the later game teamfights, but he kept Rogue in the game with that fight around the Baron earlier on.
Yeah, although they lost the game and they lost that fight afterwards, having taken out Reckless and Caps, still huge impact. I mean, Kennen is a very highlighty champion. You think of, you know, Smeb at Worlds.
Yep.
You think of like Noggery at Worlds as well. You can definitely have huge impact, even when you're behind. If you can find a good flank, it's just a huge, huge setup in the team fights. BrokenBlade obviously running the flash here. I think Inspired did get that ward, so Kirei losing out on the ward there. Kirei Inspired takes it away. And BrokenBlade might want to trade onto Odoamne here if he has the dash.
Skip and slash to start off with is what we usually see from Gwen's. A little bit of damage going down onto Odoamne. Of course, Odoamne does have the range advantage in this top lane. If you can dodge away from the snip, the Q.
The snip.
From the Gwen. Yeah,
oh yeah. Needs to dodge away from that snip.
He can do a lot of damage with those ranged auto attacks.
Going aggressive here. He's in the bush.
Diving in. The E is an auto attack reset on Gwen, so if you can auto E auto, you can get a huge amount of damage down. And of course, if you land an auto after Eing within 4 seconds, your E cooldown gets reduced as well.
Yeah, BrokenBlade on a carry here. That's what I like to see. Schalke's wins have come off the back of BrokenBlade having great performances, so we'll see if he can have another great performance here this time around. And Kirei is pathing towards the top side. Smart pathing by Kirei. Small thing to note, he did Raptors into Krugs, and now he's going for his red buff. But did Inspired read this play? This would be very intelligent by him to know that the Diana is doing Raptors, Krugs into red, but we've got to fight him bot.
Trymbi is low. Heal used there by Hans Summer. Limit pushing in, but What this does is Trymbi's low, yes, but it gives Inspired some time. He knows the bot lane's not going to roam across, and Kirei has to flash away.
I wonder if Inspired could have flashed for Kirei there. I think Inspired actually hit the red buff before hitting Kirei. I think he might have had kill pressure there. Instead decides to take away the red. Now I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it's a very smart pathing if it was, to know that Diana would do Raptor's Krugs first to make sure that they go to red third as the camp to get level 3, because then the red buff lasts longer, right? So definitely good pathing there from Inspired, punishing Kirei out, forcing his flash and taking his red. Will hurt Kirei on his clear, and he's forced to base.
And Kirei has been struggling over the last couple of weeks in the LEC. You can see lowest kill participation of any jungler here in Europe. Not that many kills and assists at the 15-minute mark, and falls behind in gold early on as well, Caedrel.
Yeah, and I will say, I've known Kirei for a long time as a player, just because I've been playing against him for quite many years. And he's been top 10 in Challenger for the last 4 to 5 years. He's been an incredibly good solo queue jungler. He's had great performances in the ERL. It's just when it comes to LEC, he's never really found his footing. This time around, he's actually a full-on starter. When he showed his first time around Misfits, he was struggling, but it was just a full sub roster. And him coming in with NUCLEARINT now, who also has had pretty poor performances. You know, you look at his lane phase specifically, he's really struggling in lane. Yeah. This matchup, he's going to struggle in again, but he's been having a lot of impact in teamfights. Things like the Akali, he had good Rise performances, but the lane phase itself, he's been struggling in. It's obviously his first LEC split, so we'll see if that improves. But definitely an area that they need to work on, the mid-jungle for Schalke.
And that's the thing, right? Kirei is a very good player, and him being this far behind in an isolated 1v1 matchup is unexpected. But jungle isn't isolated one-on-one, right? It's mid-prio. It's who can get towards the scuttle crabs earlier on. It's who can come up from bot lane quicker to help out the team quicker. It becomes a very big matchup, and right now, the Rogue bot lane is just beating the Schalke bot lane. A 2v2 kill, the 7th of summer for Trymbi and Hans Summer. They lead the charts in terms of pure 2v2 kills in the bottom lane.
Rogue bot lane, man. Even in the finals, they got a 2v2 kill every single game in spring. And again, showing their strength here, Hans Trymbi have been, if not the best performing bot lane in the league. Not so much in lane, but just overall great performance. I think Schalke had to push there. They were winning out on the trades. Even level 1, we saw it when the camper panned down, but Trymbi just going aggressive, punishing Neon for overstepping here that one time. Trymbi gets the flip. Then after the EAT, he saves his stun smartly. He doesn't use the stun, he uses the stun after the EAT.
Really
he
smart.
flashes after him and gets the kill. Great 2v2 kill for the side of Rogue.
Really intelligent play there from Rogue. Trymbi getting the kill in the end. 1,000 gold, well, 800 gold lead now for Rogue as well.
And even if you think back to last weekend, Rogue's bot lane got a 2v2 kill against G2's bot lane. Yeah. Level 2, they got a double kill. Unfortunately, they got punished for winning lane, and the TPs came in, the jungle gap came in, because Inspired was pathing topside, unfortunately, and they did lose out. But this time around, they're going to get a good base off eventually. Hans has a double longsword, and they should be good and dandy. Inspired definitely down towards spot side here. Hans.
He has flash here if he needs to get away. The attract repel has been put down by Trymbi. Inspired in the area. We'll keep tracks on
Kirei's
the Kindred stacks. Kirei is here to match. That sweeper's going to show that he's there. TP coming in. Double TP. And last time they were punished for winning lane. This time the rest of Rogue are on their way. Neon down to the piercing arrow. TP coming in behind Rogue as Kirei tries to dive forward. NUCLEARINT looking for the face baker, but he can't land it. Larssen flashes away. And Rogue have 2 kills on the board.
It wasn't a double TP. Odoamne was channeling TP top the second Larssen channel TP. So it looked like a double TP. It wasn't in the end. Rogue get themselves a kill. Punishing Neon again for overextending in the bot side of the map. Trying to crash that bot wave because they were trading onto Hans. Good TP match from Rogue. NUCLEARINT obviously came down as well. Unfortunately, only really got a flash out of Larssen, but at least it's something. And I think Inspired's here just to cover the push, and because his mark is on this top crab.
I wonder if Inspired got a mark off that Senna kill. Currently sitting at 2 marks overall. The top crab available for him, as you say, for a third. 4 marks is the breaking point for the Kindred, where you get all that extra attack range.
Yeah, so Schalke want to crash this bot wave here, and when they tried to do it after having traded aggressively onto Hans, Inspired's there to punish. Although Kirei's here to match the 3v3, which perhaps they could have contested, the TP comes in from Larssen, and NUCLEARINT on the minimap, if you can look at it now, he's basing. He just got to base, now he can TP. If he TP'd earlier on, he would have an item disadvantage and he would be low, and in a sense, Larssen's just there first from having to push and being able to base first. So NUCLEARINT does come down in the end, only gets a flash out of Larssen, and Schalke's bot lane punished again for overextending.
Strong early laning once again from Rogue. About 1,200 gold ahead. Mid lane relatively even between the 2 players. NUCLEARINT has the be-all and end-all of items when you're playing into Lucian on this set. Plated steel caps, otherwise known as Ninja Tabi.
And that's the thing with playing this triple marksman comp of Kindred, Varus, Lucian. It's really easy to itemize against, and it's really easy to shut down if you can get champions like Sett, Diana on top of them. So although Rogue have got off to a really good early game, which we expect from Rogue, I mean, if you look at their stats just in general, Rogue's early game is fantastic. It's only when it comes to the mid to late game that they start to drop the ball. You can just see it in this representation here. Gold difference at 15, 2.7k. Gold difference in 20, 3.4k in Summer. They're snowballing, and all of a sudden it just drops, and I think that's where they start to get caught over side lanes, and they overextend in teamfights. Similar to Mad Lions in a sense, Rogue more so just kind of getting forced upon and not respecting enemy vision sometimes.
Yeah, you can see the difference between Spring and Summer there as well. In Spring, they were so good at just snowballing their leads away from their opponents. Here in Summer, they have struggled to do that. And we will see if they can re-find that form that they did have in Summer. Inspired at 3 stacks, Ocean Drake available, 2 Rogue if they want it. No real vision here from Schalke in the bottom lane, but Larssen's going to peek his head in because he saw that there was a mark on these Razorbeaks. However, Kirei has already taken them.
Yeah, and because of the happenings in bot, having gotten 2 kills onto Neon, Rogue's bot lane has to push all of a sudden. So now Larssen has to push 2. Inspired's kind of ahead in jungle tempo, you'd admit, because he's just first to the river after having denied Kirei the red buff in the early game. So 2 pushing lanes that Inspired can work around. Let's see what he does with them. Like you said, Dragon's up. Maybe they want to look to start that now, because they have got pushing mid, they have got pushing bot. Trymbi.
And Summer has
going really deep here again. Maybe Schalke gets punished in the bot side again.
Yeah, Limit goes way too deep. Hansana has the Chain of Corruption. They're looking for Trymbi first, but he can just walk away from this one. Limit misses the Tongue Lash. He will fall to Trymbi. Cullen coming in from Larsen's. They look for Kirei and Neon is down. 3 deaths in 8 minutes for the Senna. He has been absolutely shut out of this game.
You have to really question what Schalke is trying to achieve with these aggressive trades. I mean, the wave is pushing into them, so what they want to do is zone away Rogue's bot lane, but you have no information on jungle. Larssen just pushed mid wave and fogged towards bot side. So I think in the communication must have broken down a little bit there from Schalke, because Limit's basically diving Hans or Trymbi at one point. You can see they're trying to crash the wave. Trymbi trades onto Limit trades onto Trymbi, but look at the minimap. Larsen's moving down after having pushed mid.
This should use your Devour as well as Limit here.
Yeah, this should have been communicated. Limit's basically trying to dive the enemy support with no river vision, and in the end they just get collapsed on. So 4 kills for Rogue on this bot side of the map, and it's always just keeps getting punished from Schalke overextending.
It was really greedy stuff there from Schalke, trying to make something happen in the bot lane, perhaps thinking that they had caught Trymbi out, but they had not. And now the Schalke bottom lane will rotate up towards the top side of the map. They're trying to find something for themselves. It will be a Rift Herald. They should be able to secure this before Inspired is close enough to take it away. But Neon and Limit still both only level 5. Neon only just ticks over to level 6 now. Doesn't
get the Herald.
Kirei's getting it? Kirei's getting it. Okay, we're good.
They're going to give it to Kirei. Looked sketchy for a second there, but it looks like Schalke's just kind of trying to end the lane phase in bot side and move towards the top side of the map. You can see in the gold on the left-hand side of the screen, Hans, Larssen, Inspired, Odoamne, everyone's just so far ahead in gold right now. And what Schalke are trying to do is just deny the Herald. They had tempo on their bot lane, they ran towards the top side because Rogue had to push out bot, and they were able to get there first. They secure it, but the loser in this is BrokenBlade. He had to stay around to secure the Herald, and now he's down 10 CS. He's lost the tower plate to Odoamne, and he's kind of paying the consequences.
Kindred was spotted there.
Bot lane swap. Kindred was spotted, so they should have information as to where he is. Schalke won't overextend this time around, because you can see, although Schalke have incredibly good vision towards the top side of mid, you can see it on the minimap there, 3 pink wards all scattered around the top side of mid. That gives them a lot of information, but the fact that they've already spotted out the Kindred means that Kirei can just sit there farming or look for other plays around the map, because he knows they lose the 3v3 right now.
Can I let you in on a little secret? I'm gonna wait to see if a fight happens.
If it's a secret, you can't tell me.
No, but you will join me in knowing the secret.
But then they will know the secret too.
Yeah, and I think that's quite funny if they do.
Okay.
Chain of Corruption flashed away there by Limit. Neon is able to dodge it. The secret is...
Jankos had a secret if they won.
It's true.
But he never said it.
Yeah, it's true because they didn't win. But a couple of times today, you have used the Telestrator, and you have done some very good drawings, good diagrams. It's not showing up on the screen.
Oh, really?
So no, it's not your fault. It's just it's not working right now apparently. Oh, so every time you do something, you're like, oh, look at these wards. I'm gonna circle them on the Telestrator. We see nothing on the screen. It's quite fun though.
Oh well, you could have told me the first time that happened. So you don't just sit there giggling.
It's more fun to let you just do it a couple of times, you know.
Well, I tried to highlight Schalke's topside vision around mid, but look at the minimap now. I don't have a Telestrator to show you, and I don't have circles, but look at the amount of red wards they have. They cleared out all of the pinks, and they have incredibly good topside vision, which means Hans and Trymbi can just perma-push top. Larssen, you can see in mid lane, he's hugging towards the top side slightly, because that's where he has vision, that's where he's safe. If Kirei was coming towards the bot side, he can just dash topside. And he has full vision topside, so he knows which side to hug. So that gives both of your top and mid laner vision to hug and play around. But that does leave bot lane without too much vision. Inspired's down here now. He's going to get spotted on the wall similarly to the way he did in topside earlier on. But Kirei's here to match again. Kirei's been here to match every single play. But Schalke have just been losing the play before he's been able to actually have an impact.
Look at where Trymbi is. He's on his way down here as well. Maybe Kirei will look for a play because the Rift Herald is available for him, and you want to get that down so you can chunk away at some of these plays. Get gold into BrokenBlade. We've seen what a Fed Gwen can do. Everyone's seen what a Fed Gwen can do, and Trymbi, as he walked over the ward, means that Kirei and BrokenBlade will back away. Vision cleared out from Rogue in this bot side river once again. A minute and a half on the next drag as inspired. Can we just click on Kindred, please, observers, assuming nothing's going to happen? 4 stacks, so he has got that fully, that initial upgrade, the extra 75 attack range on that Kindred.
Yeah, and you can see how the pressure translates, to just go off a little bit topic here from the Kindred. They use their support bot side to make sure that Odoamne can get the push, but that does mean Hans has to back off top because he's 1v2 of course. So despite having all the vision, he doesn't have the numbers advantage to be able to match and kind of sit under the tower and collect it because he'd get dove. So he does end up losing a wave, and Schalke's bot lane can start to push in. Maybe they'll get a tower plate here as well, so get something in return for helping Odoamne get that push out. Who's now going to base, but they have double TP available. Trymbi slightly spotted out. Important thing to note here, BrokenBlade TP back to bot lane. At 30 minutes in the game, using your TP like that when both bot lanes are on the top side of the map is very dangerous, because now Odoamne has TP advantage, Larssen has TP. Only one TP can match the play if there was one to kick off on the top side.
You can see this control ward as well coming out from Schalke. They know that if there had been a ward there, Odoamne could have TP'd in. Of course, it does allow Kirei the opportunity to get into this lane without being seen, assuming he takes the shorter route round past Gromp.
Yeah, and the problem that Schalke have now is they need to use the Herald. It's about to run out. I think there's 10 seconds left, so it's probably going to go mid, you'd expect, because BrokenBlade's pushed out bot and moved towards mid. So maybe Rogue want to look for a cross map. 30 seconds on the platings, definitely going to be popped here, Larssen.
Flashes away from the facebreaker. BrokenBlade's going to still try and chase him down with a Hallow Mist. The Needlework's doing a lot of damage, but here's the TP behind them. Showstopper onto Larssen. And a couple of punches is enough from the Pugilist to take him down. Odoamne flashes the wall. Will kill off NUCLEARINT.
Where's the Herald though? It is dropped. It's going to hit before the platings crash, and they are going to get some gold onto Kirei. Now, if we get a replay of that, you can just see the decisiveness from BrokenBlade, perhaps the experience from BrokenBlade, because despite Larssen flashing, he's calling to fight, and NUCLEARINT's running away. He does eventually sidestep Neon. Might be caught out here again. He has the flash though, and Trymbi is walking up, limits around. There's no TPs. Larssen's up in 5 with TP, so they might go for the 2v2.
Now Trymbi has the Magnet Storm. Limit's going to try and push in on this one. Hans Summer still has the Chain of Corruption. Trymbi going forward. Limit, well, he's just taken out before he can do too much, but the Devour coming out. They're looking to try and kill off Hans as quickly as they can. They can't do it in time.
There's a TP coming in from Larssen. Important to note, Hans is not playing poke Varus, he's playing on-hit Varus, a lot more DPS. But look at this, watch NUCLEARINT's positioning. He flashed Ease and Larssen flashed it. He runs away now for a second, goes for the creeps, but BrokenBlade just instantly saying, just dive this guy, let's just go for it. In the end, they get a kill. They force out Odoamne's TP, 1-for-1 trade, but he forced out a TP. So not a bad trade in the end. And they do get the Herald popped to get some gold onto Kirei. So, proactivity coming from Schalke here, despite being behind in the early game.
And they're 6 kills to 1 down, about 4,000 in the pocket right now as well.
And look at the items. Kraken Slayer on Inspired, Larssen, and Hans. So a lot of DPS here.
AD carry items are varied and fun.
Yeah, varied and fun.
Kraken Slayer does a huge amount of work.
It's interesting that Larssen went towards the Kraken Slayer, because what we tend to see is the Gale Force Lucian, with the E, with the Gale Force, with the culling, lots of burst. But in the end, he's going to go for Kraken Slayer. It does give more on-hit DPS, you'd expect, just less kind of playmaking in the 1v1s. So, Rogue are going to play towards the top side of the map. Still around 4,000 gold up here, denying camps, taking top tier 1, and that's going to be the first tower of the game. Ooh, Kirei steals it with
nice little steal with the Crescent Slash there. Speaking of items as well, Caedrel, I do want to bring back something you said earlier. Plated Steel Caps. Very strong item against this composition coming out from Rogue. You see 3 of them. Neon, Limit, and NUCLEARINT all have those Steel Caps. Kirei deciding he wants more DPS in these fights, or at least more burst damage on the Diana with the Sorcerer's Shoes.
Yeah, and speaking of itemization, Neon building towards Divine Sunderer, and there was a game in the LCK, T1. It went to around 70 minutes, I think it was.
It was 290 stacks, Senna, I want to say?
Yeah, but I think in 70 minutes, 290 stacks is quite low, I'd have to say.
But also, LCK doesn't fight that much, so it's quite hard to get a lot of stacks. There were 30 kills in a 70-minute game. Yeah, jungle camps, I guess.
Got to farm jungle camps, so we'll have to keep our eyes on Neon. He's at 51 stacks right now at 16 minutes into the game. I'll have to see how that grows. Schalke starting up this Herald again. They got the first one, they're looking for the second one. I expect this second Herald to go towards mid tower. Make sure they can crack that open and help NUCLEARINT get this push in mid. Actually, hang on, I think bot lane will be mid, so helps Neon and Limit push out these waves. NUCLEARINT.
Good stealth from Odoamne. NUCLEARINT was lining up for the showstopper back underneath the tower. Couldn't quite get it. Inspired now has the Lamb's Respite.
The stacks coming on him as well.
And has NUCLEARINT in his sights. There's a TP away. I mean, he gets out of this, right? Stun.
No,
the slicing Maelstrom just at the edge. NUCLEARINT survives with a haymaker for the moment. Spy doesn't have that Lamb's Respite, but Odoamne will take him down.
Good reaction times from Odoamne there. Just tosses out the Q the second NUCLEARINT Strike Breakers forwards. What he was going to do there is obviously Strike Breaker ult, and he would probably kill Odo. Odo reacts fast enough, and they get the kill in the end. Now NUCLEARINT lost his TP too, so more salt in the wound as Hans tosses out the ult in mid.
Okay, corruption onto Neon. Limit waits with the Devour till the Magnet Storm is down. Kirei coming in as well, and Trymbi's dived way too deep on this one. The Lamb's Respite has been used. Kirei's going to have to flash the wall though. As the tower fell, Hans Summer looked for the flash arrow, couldn't quite land it onto the Tahm Kench.
Blast Cone saved lives, manages to save Limit there, and good execution on the dive. Trymbi looked like he went too deep, but they had the Lamb's Respite, and the tower was low, so no matter what, they could just kill the tower and then turn the fight regardless, because it was a 4v3. So Rogue get that mid tier 1, 3 towers to 1 now, and Schalke still have the Herald, so they should be able to get the mid tower of themselves, but they're facing a Rogue which is so far ahead in gold right now, and they're stacking the dragons. 1 minute 40 until that Infernal Drake.
And we'll see if Rogue can keep up this, because as we said earlier,
Keep this up.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
We'll see if Rogue can keep this up.
Yeah, just wanted to correct it.
I mean, you were correct in correcting me.
Thank you for correcting me that I corrected. It was correct.
Do you ever wonder why we get paid to do this job?
No.
Okay, cool. Anyway, we'll see if Rogue can keep this up, because it has been between the 20 and the 25-minute mark where they have struggled to maintain their gold leads, where they've struggled to take team fights. Of course, it is easier for them when they are this far ahead and they have something like the Infernal Dragon coming up soon, because it forces Schalke to fight them. Like, if Schalke don't fight this, Rogue are on soul point for the rest of the game, and that makes it very difficult to make plays across the map, because you know Rogue can always just go for the next Infernal.
And that's the power of being ahead. When you're ahead, you have to force something, and the best thing to do is just take Drakes, because eventually, like you said, they're going to have to fight you for it, and if they don't, you have an Infernal Soul or an Ocean Soul, wherever it may be, and you're automatically at an advantage in those fights. So we'll keep our eyes on the Dragon. 30 seconds until Infernal Soul points for Rogue. They're probably going to set that up. You can see Inspired spacing now. He's going to probably move towards the bot side, and Rogue want to get the setup. Odoamne is obviously going to be in top because he has the TP. We'll see if Rogue can get actually some TP wards for him.
Yeah, because currently Rogue really don't have too much vision. They have no deep vision in the red side quadrant for Schalke. They've got 1 ward now in the river. Rift Herald going down. This is good use from Kirei, because they know they can push towards the Dragon. Rift Herald will charge in and get this tower. And total control here for Schalke down towards the bottom side. Odoamne is going to pop the slicing Maelstrom. Hallowed Mist won't save BrokenBlade from that, but the snip, snip, snip. Odoamne getting chased down by BrokenBlade, flashes away from the Dawning Shadow. Abyssal Voyage comes in from Schalke as well, and they've given up the Infernal Drake for this play.
I think this is a little bit of an overcommit from Neon Unlimited here to try and get the kill. They've given up, like you said, all the control on the Dragon, and they're just going to straight up lose it. I think they had good control to actually contest the 4v4, because the Kennen can't TP in without his ultimate, and BrokenBlade was winning on that 1v1, they're forcing the flash. Right, so they just given up the Infernal Soul point, and Schalke, they're forced to fight the 4th one. That's in around 5 minutes time. And Schalke, the problem is, if they were to get that kill, there's an acceptable reason as to why they would do that, because maybe they can get top tier 2 as well, because they had a wave, and they can actually start playing for gold rather than this 3rd Dragon, but now they lose out on both sides.
Good thing for BrokenBlade and for Schalke is, though, that now this Gwen seems strong enough to 1v1 Odoamne having to flash away at the end there. Of course, can't kill him in the prolonged 1v1.
Alright, gonna get another stack here for free. He's gonna sit on 7 then, and he gets the red buff. 2 levels up on this Kindred.
7 stacks, of course, the second breakpoint on the Kindred. Yep. Every 3 stacks after that first 4. Now 100 extra attack range, extra attack speed. Just makes Kindred so difficult to deal with. And although Inspired is 004, he has had a very strong impact on this game so far. We have an explosive match to close out today. G2 Esports versus Team Vitality. Leader versus Caps in the mid lane.
Poggers.
Big Poggers.
Yeah, and I think Neon was around 60 souls as well, so trying to stack that up as quickly as possible. Slightly low at the moment, but it's understandable given how behind they are. And the only pressure point, again, similar to the SK game, is the top side, in the top lane for Schalke. BrokenBlade's winning out on the 1v1, like you said. He's able to push in waves, and when Limit hits level 11 on the Tahm Kench, they should be able to play oversides a lot easier. So I say that.
Coming out, BrokenBlade getting forced away. It's the second time today we've said this guy's winning the 1v1 and immediately gets just chunked out.
But I think that comes down to the Void Staff that Odoamne has now created. Burns through the Merc Treads and does a lot more damage to the Gwen. Don't think he had that earlier on, and he just forces him out, makes it so he can defend this tower. If he didn't go for that all-in, if the enemy jungle came down, like Kirei was doing, there's a world where he could get dove, doesn't have the flash, doesn't have the stopwatch, so let's just force out the solo laner before they can even set up.
Yeah, it's also very dependent on whether there's a tower there, whether the rest of Schalke are on their way. So BrokenBlade taking a couple of tower shots in that last play. Now Rogue are going to set up towards the top side. Baron on the cards for them if they want to start pushing it towards that. You can see Schalke will try and gain vision. They get the mid prio, which is what you need to do if you're going to step into this area of Fog of War. And they're not clearing out all of these wards, Caedrel.
Yeah, well, Schalke have kind of kept control around the objectives, but Rogue can break it open. Inspired 3 levels up on Kirei, who we talked about at the start of the game, who's had kind of a poor split. And I feel like this game, you can't really put blame on him. I feel like the bot lane of Schalke just overstepped way too many times. He was there to respond to it, but unfortunately, he didn't have the numbers advantage or a winning 3v2 to be able to do so, because Schalke's bot lane was behind. So that's really only why they only have 1 kill. Yes, they did get heralds, but they've dropped a lot of dragons. So Baron, definitely on the cards for Rogue. A lot of burst. When you have 380 carries, Baron is very quick. But I think Dragon's definitely where they want to focus. Throwing a Baron here could be horrendous. You lose the Infernal Soul, Schalke get more time. So play it safe, play for the Dragon, unless you get a pick. If Schalke get a bit too greedy trying to clear this vision, Rogue can start it up if they get a pick.
Rogue hit the 20-minute mark at about 4,000 gold lead. It continues to be. It's now, well, it's about 6,000 gold lead now, if I can do my maths correctly. And so perhaps their faltering mid-game has been fixed, at least so far for this game. We haven't seen too much action, though, in those last couple of minutes either, as Rogue just continue to walk around Schalke. Schalke just constantly gaining mid pressure, gaining bot pressure, but not really gaining much else on the map. Just farming up, getting towards those second items where they can. Yeah, and it's hard. You don't win on 3v3s, you don't win out on 2v2s. You have pushing top, pushing mid on the side of Rogue, so it's so hard for Schalke to contest. They might find a fight here, though. TP coming in. Is that Nuclear in, or is it BrokenBlade, or is it both as they look for Inspired? Odoamne coming in with the TP, and he is perfectly placed to slice through Nuclear in, but he gets him away, and the face break is being used. Dawning Shadow's going to kill off Odoamne. And just as we said, Rogue hadn't fallen at the final hurdle. Perhaps they've fallen here, but instead they will turn it around onto Limit, who pops the thick skin, but can't get away from this one. Flashes in from Trymbi. A double for Larssen. And Nuclear in tried as he might, but couldn't hold on to this game for Schalke Null Fear. Rogue get 3. And we'll get 2, and we'll turn that eyes towards the Baron.
Yeah, this could be a Baron. They have a lot of DPS for it. Only Odoamne fell, and there's no smite on the side of Schalke. Really good execution on from Rogue on the turn. I mean, it looked like they had a good fight, Schalke, at the start of that when Odoamne fell, but Inspired actually flashed away. Despite he didn't use the Lamb's Respite to save Odoamne, he just flashed out and made sure he was alive. Larssen turns up, the culling comes across, and Schalke have to back off. That's a Baron and 2 kills for Rogue. And they're going to reset as quickly as they can and move towards the Dragon timing.
Perfect reset timing to go for the Infernal Soul next.
So I thought that the Inspired would stick around Odoamne here when he gets, flipped over this wall to use the ultimate to save him. I think that Rogue just needed to back away in time just to wait for Larssen. You can see him on the minimap moving across through the blue side jungle. Rogue just wants to buy time here. Really good ultimate from the Nuclear Int to keep him out of the team. But the Inspired actually can't save him. He just decides to flash away. The second Larssen arrives at the culling, like we said, Rogue can start to move forwards. And if these 3 marksmen can hit your front line and you can't turn, then they're obviously going to win the fight. So they chase him down, they get the kills. Odoamne might be in trouble here.
Slicing Maelstrom about to come off cooldown, but Odoamne doesn't really have anywhere to go. He pops the stopwatch. Slicing Maelstrom will be back off cooldown as he comes out. There's the Lamb's Respite, and this time Inspired saves his top laner, but also saves Kirei. Hunsummer gets 1. There's 3 quick kills for Rogue. Neon and Nuclear Int, the only 2 left alive as Larssen looks for the chase. Probably hoping he had a Gale Force now. Seroda's Grudge will get the slow. Neon able to get back underneath this tower for the moment, but not going to have any health left when Rogue are done with him. Chain of Corruption coming out. Nuclear Int, the last man standing. Larssen survives. Why were you even doubting? Look at him, he's got above 1 HP. That's all that matters.
He was about to die, but a small, cool mechanical play we saw in that fight. What Larssen did was he E'd and then Q'd through the minions. It hit Neon, which procced the Serildis to get the slow to actually keep this fight going. Good execution there from Larssen. The reason we're seeing this 5v5 in the bot side is because Dragon's up. It's the Infernal Soul. We talked about it. A fight is bound to kick off. Very short death timers on the side of Schalke though, so they're going to have to back off. But we're going to look at this fight again because Odoamne, it looked like he was caught out, but look at all of Rogue on the minimap. They're moving down towards the bot side for a good reason. Infernal Soul's up, so definitely around to make sure they can match this fight. Odoamne buys time with the stopwatch, with the Proto Belt, and then the Lamb's Respite comes in to save the day. I think he does end up falling on the backside of this fight, and I want to just keep our eyes on Larssen for the rest of the fight because he's the one who cleans up, and he's the one who does this kind of cool interaction to slow down Neon. Let's keep our eyes on it because the creep wave's coming in. He hits the W, and then he hits the Q through the creeps to keep the slow on it.
That's really well played from Inspired. And then Neon tries to turn it back around with the Piercing Darkness, but look at the crits, look at the damage that comes out from the Rogue mid laner. Larssen, although he has been quiet in lane a few times.
I think he was shocked that he got tower aggro. I think the reason he did was because he had a Corrupting Pot taking onto Nuclear.
Oh, okay.
And that's how he got the tower aggro swapped onto him. It might have surprised him a little bit there, but definitely the man who carried that fight alongside Inspired. Odoamne just trying his best to survive and buy time.
Did a really good job of that, as he always does. 14 kills to 3, 26.5 minutes in the game, and 11,000 gold lead for Rogue. Odoamne looking for BrokenBlade.
Good night, sweet prince.
She's a princess, actually, but sure.
Okay, well, it's just a saying. So, yeah, sure. True, got me there. Well, we can see who wins out of the 1v1 now. Odoamne has 3 items.
Yeah.
Melts through the Gwen when she face checks. Unfortunately, doesn't have enough MR or resistances to be able to survive the burst. Odoamne takes him down with the electrocute. Now Rogue just pushing in. Does Odoamne have the TP? We'll see if he does, because he could just TP in here. They might just look for an end. They have to be careful though. 2 inhibs down. He does have the TP, and there's no top wave to work with. We'll see if they stick around. The Baron buff's worn off, so it'll be difficult.
I think it's a bit hard for them to push it in right now. Super Minions, you can see that how far away that bot lane wave is. It's all the way pushed up to where Rogue's tier 1 would usually be. So it's going to take them a little while. Chain of Corruption going out. The root lands onto Neon, but Schalke able just to devour and walk away. Odoamne's had some time to push in the top lane, but Rogue really... This is Cinema League of Legends, as you would usually say, Caedrel.
English medic.
Yeah, as you do. Cinema League of Legends. They're just watching League of Legends happen in front of them.
Well, I think
they wait for Odo to push in.
Rogue's just trying to keep them in their base so that it gives time for Odoamne to push in this top wave, and then by the time he does, they're here to make sure that they're here to take this top inhibitor. That'll be 3 inhibitors. If Schalke don't fight this, I think that's just game over. But I mean, 3 inhibitors down, you can't contest anything on the map with Elder and Baron spawning soon. You need to fight for this.
NUCLEARINT doesn't have flash. How is he
Kirei
ever going to get close enough? Kirei needs to flash in. That's the call from Caedrel. The question is whether he will go for it. Moonfall can do a lot of work, but of course Lamb's Respite is back up for Inspired. BrokenBlade trying to find a flank position, clears out the control ward, but that is the inhibitor down, 3 inhibs gone. And Rogue can just walk away.
Yeah, they're gonna
Schalke watched them.
Yeah, 3 inhibitors down. Now that basically locks Schalke in their base for the next 4 to 5 minutes of the game. With Baron and Elder spawning, Rogue have this game all under control. Maybe they just want to look to end it now. Odoamne has the flash ultimate. If anyone on Schalke walks up, he can just pull the trigger.
Inspired dives underneath the Nexus tower there, but that was a little too greedy as Neon opens up on him. Kirei so low. But here comes Odo once again with a slicing mouse from NUCLEARINT. Tries to showstopper Inspired out of the Lamb's Respite, but cannot do it. That's 2 quick kills to Rogue. Larssen on the backline, just running behind them all. But Rogue will clean up the fight, they will clean up the kills, they will try and clean up the limit on the fountain, they can't quite get it.
And waiting
they will wait and they will wait.
Oh, Limit, where are you going, buddy?
Away from Limit!
Oh, later!
Oh, Odo TPing, Minion's gonna win it.
Yeah,
Rogue go 4 and 2 as they take down Schalke.
Yeah, good game. And I think the most interesting thing for me from this game was the Kindred pick.
Yeah.
I think the Kindred pick into Diana made a lot of sense. We've seen a lot of Diana around the world. The Kindred just counteracts everything that Diana wants to do, so after that level 2 takeaway and the red buff forcing the flash, Kirei really couldn't find his footing in this game. Bot lane was losing, despite having good timers of being around his bot lane. They just didn't have the numbers advantage to contest. It was either a TP, or they were just way too far behind in HP bars to turn the fights.
Yeah, good performance there by Rogue as well. Tomorrow they face off against Astralis, so expectations is they will have a 2-0 week and can continue their form going into week 4. Your key player of the game votes at LEC on Twitter are Inspired, Larssen and Trymbi. All of them had relatively good showings.
Larssen damage, Inspired, Creative Pathing.
Trymbi, Magnet Storms, yeah.
Magnet
really
Storms,
good Magnet
good
Storms.
2v2 kills.
I really like the Rell pick as well. I think people, like, it's overlooked for good reason, because it's not as strong as some of the other supports, but into things like a Tahm Kench, into anything that you want to like group up, if you have good AoE on your team, it can work out really well.
Yeah, can always just find the point and click engage with the Magnet Storm.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to do this one?
Fnatic are on a tear in the LEC Summer with 3 straight wins, and after the break, Machine and Laure will dive deeper into the mystery that is Adam. See you after this.
You nailed it, man. Pog. Woo!
Through this, what comes next will be marvelous.
Welcome back to LEC Summer. Rogue, Takedown, Schalke, NUCLEARINT, and Inspired. It feels like the draft played a huge part in that game. I mean, 3 wits end on your side, a lot of AP damage on their side. What's your input on the comp that they chose and how did it played against your comp today?
I think the draft was like winnable for both sides. I think they just didn't execute it that well around both sides. Because I think if enemy Senna and Tahm Kench are playing better in lane, then Senna will become a threat for us. And then they also have AD damage, which is a bit harder to itemize against. But because Senna and Tahm were pretty behind in lane, then it was only Gwen and Diana that were in an okay state in the game. So we just I just said to teammates, just buy wits and don't forget it, and they can't really kill us. So after we got a bit ahead, I think it was very hard for enemies to come back.
I see. And as you mentioned, the champions, they also picked Diana here. It's the second time we see the champion in the LEC today. Although, for the viewers who watch LCK and LPL, they're familiar with the pick. But what can you tell me about Diana? Usually we see the champ against Rumble. But yeah, how strong is the champion? And do you think we're going to see it more in the LEC from now on?
I think the champion is strong because it farms very fast and has a lot of damage, so it's very good to pick it as the only AP threat because you can go like Proto Belt and basically on one item already, if you are able to like get the 2-man ult or like 3-man ult in the early and late game 15 fights, it will like basically change the fight around. But the Diana weakness is that she's not very strong in early game, like on the crab fights or even level 6 before she has her first item completed, she's not that strong. So I think it's a bit hard to play early game with Diana as a team because your team needs to not take many fights and just let you scale. But when you get to the point where you are already strong, then I think the champion is very strong. So I think we might see it more in LEC. Depends how teams approach the game. If someone likes to play for early game, I don't think they will like to play Diana. But if people want to scale, I think Diana is a good champion.
I see. Well, thank you for these insights. And to this Diana, you added also a new champion to the jungle today with the Kindred, which is actually the 4th unique champion you've played so far in summer, including Fiddlesticks, Gragas, now Kindred. You got player of the game today, given the performance you had on the champion. So tell me about the choice of Kindred here against Diana. And yeah, how flexible you've been overall in summer.
I was thinking about what to pick to like last second. I was not really confident in Kindred in this pick because it's not that great with Lucian mid because they're both AD champs and it's easy to itemize against it. But in the end, I just thought that Kindred will be not that bad because it will counter the whole engage of Diana. So it will be like basically good answer into her. And other than that, I think it's just good at hitting first target, and that's what our comp wanted to do. So we're just hitting tanks like the first one that are going into us. So I think Kindred is good at it.
That was a very good choice and good timings on the ult with Kindred today, Inspired. But for now, thank you so much for the interview and good luck tomorrow on your second game.
Thank you.
And we're going to take a break now and we'll come back in a few minutes to see if Fnatic can continue their 3-game win streak they have so far as they face off against Astralis. Stay tuned.